Oh, you should be hearing me now. Let me know if you're hearing now, Jessica and Gregoria and Larissa. Are you hearing now? Okay, so I'm waiting for them to say if they're hearing. People on YouTube are saying they're not hearing, and I see why. So now they're hearing good. So let me just recap. So I'm saying, out of the ordinary, I jumped on tonight just to share some classroom management strategies with new and international teachers, especially teachers who are coming in the United States for their first teaching year. They might need some strategies on how to ensure that their students are doing what is required and making sure that they can teach during the day, because a classroom with no management, no class control is going to be hard for you to get students to be on task and get their work done. So I did mention the last series we did. Good night, Francine. Good night, ladies who joined. Thanks for joining. All right. So my last series is on the raw truth of teaching in the United States. And that series is going to show small bits and pieces of what it is like teaching here in the United States. Now, it is fun and it can be positives, but there are also negatives. So that's something I wanted to point out for people who are, considering to come to teach in the United States, letting you know it's not all glitter and gold. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs, but you just have to know what is it that you are getting into and what your goals are. Okay, so for my new teachers who are just teaching in the United States for their first year, congratulations. I know you did an awesome job, or should I say, you worked hard to get here, and now you are here in the United States and you're wondering what's next. So I'm just going to share three classroom management strategies. I'm not going to be long because it's already late, and then we'll get straight into questions if you have any questions at the end. All right. So I know as an international teacher going to a new country, it doesn't matter if it's the United States or the Middle East or to a Caribbean country. Once you go to a new country, the culture is going to be different and you're going to be expected to still be on task as an educator, because that's what we are, educators. They expect us to research and know what is it that we're getting into. But you don't want classroom management to be one of your issues, because studies have shown that once you have your classroom under control, it's easier for you to get the students to grasp the concepts and follow procedures and rules in the classroom. So I'm gonna be looking at only three classroom management strategies tonight, and these three are very important, very, very, very important. If you get these down pat, then you can add more, because especially if you're teaching smaller kids, you don't want to overload them too much with too many things, and so you want to make sure you have things in place. So the first classroom management strategies is ensuring that there are procedures in place. And when I say procedures, I'm not talking about rules, and I'll get to rules after. The procedures is how you do something. How do you enter my classroom? How do you leave the classroom? How do you walk in the hallway? How do you raise your hand for, if you want to ask a question? What are the procedures? What do you do? And there are ways to make sure these procedures are visible, so students are seeing them day after day. And so when they're seeing them every day, it becomes a part of them and they know what to do. Because I'm telling you, especially for the babies, especially for the kids, the procedures will take some time for them to grasp. You will find that after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're still reminding them of what to do. And so you want to make your procedures visible. And I'm going to give an example. So the procedure for entering the room. If you have a procedure for entering the room, you want to make that visible, where as soon as the students enter the classroom, they can see those procedures. So for example, my classroom, my procedures are: enter quietly, and you want to make sure I put quietly in bold so they know. enter quietly. And once they enter, then the next thing they're going to do is to unpack their bags. And these are shown on, my chart. Or some mornings they are displayed on the whiteboard, my projector. So they're seeing it as soon as they walk in. Enter the classroom quietly, unpack your bags, sit quietly in your seat, and start on your morning work. Simple, not a lot, 4 steps, and they're following those 4 steps every morning. But you have to remind them every morning that these are the procedures you're going to be following. Okay, so you want procedures for leaving the classroom also, because sometimes, and then in some schools the bell will go, but you have to highlight to your students that the bell does not signal you to leave. I'm going to signal you to leave. So when the bell goes, I'm going to say, okay, which group is going to move first to get their bags? And when they get their bag, what should they do after they get their bag? And in my classroom, this is what I do. I know in the mornings my students going to do their morning work. We have folders for our morning work, and all my folders have different colors. So the take home communication folders are green, and their morning work folders are yellow. So in the evenings when it's time to go, the procedures are you take your yellow folder and you put it on top of your desk. You wait for your group to be called. Once your group is called, you're going to stand and you're going to put your chair on your desk and you're going to go and get your bag. And that procedure is also visible for them to see. And some students already grasp those procedures and know what to do, and they will remind them their friends, and you can encourage them to remind their friends. So once they put their chairs on the decks and they get their bags, they know they stand to the door in their ABC order. And you might be wondering, oh, is it ABC order if they're going in groups? Well, for the first 2 weeks of school, we practice standing in ABC order, so they basically know which spot they're supposed to be standing in when they stand at the door. Okay, when all the groups have finished putting in their yellow folders on the decks, put their chairs on their desk and get their bag and join the line, then they can walk quietly in the hallway, following the hallway procedures. So procedures are very important. There are procedures in my classroom for asking a question. If you want to ask a question, there's a finger procedure they used to do. You want to go to the bathroom, they do this. So if I see a child doing this, I know the child needs to use the bathroom. There is a procedure for this. If I see the child doing this, then I know the child wants the child wants a pencil. And there are different procedures and hand signals that they use that assist them in moving from one place to the next in the classroom. Because if you don't have procedures in place, your classroom can become chaotic. And I'm serious. So it might seem like, oh, why you need so many procedures? It is important to get the students to do what is it that you require of them. And I find that when students just get up from their seats and come to me, I redirect them. Okay, so you came to my table, but I did not see a hand signal. So how is it that you're here at my table? Go back to your seat and use your hand signal. Each time they don't do what they're supposed to do, redirect them, remind them what is the procedure for coming to my table. Or you need to ask me a question. What is the procedure for asking me a question? Because there's a hand signal if you want to ask me a question. I think this is it, 5 fingers out. So keep reminding them, redirecting them, because especially for the smaller ones, it's going to take some time, but they will get it if you keep practicing. So classroom procedures, very, very, very important. Okay. So the next one I'm going to go to is the classroom rules. As I mentioned earlier, the rules are different from the procedures. The rules are what they're going to be governed by in the classroom. And so you want to make sure the students are a part of creating these rules, because they're the ones who are going to be, following them, and they're the ones who are going to be experiencing the consequences of not following them. So you want to make sure those first 2 weeks, and I know it's late in the school year, but it's never too late to remind them of those rules, or ask them to give you rules that they think are beneficial for the classroom. So you allow the students to assist in, or should I say help in, making those rules, and you make the rules visible in the classroom, and you also allow them to assist you with making the consequences for those rules. Because if they're the ones who make the rules and they say what consequences to be followed if those rules are broken, then you can always go back and say, remember, these rules are not my rules. You're the ones who made the rules. You're the ones who say, if this happened, this is what we're going to do. So hold them accountable for the rules. So if the and make your rules very simple. And one thing I want to say about rules, and I learned this, I think my first year, make your rules start off on a positive rather than a negative note. Instead of saying, um, do not talk in class. That's a negative. Do not talk in class. Or no eating in classroom. Instead of starting your rules with no, be positive. You can say eating is not allowed. So you did not start off with a negative. Eating is not allowed in class. Speak softly or speak quietly in class. So you want the rules to be, friendly, and not like you're demanding them. You cannot do this in class. Okay, let me go get my battery, my charger for this 1 minute. Laptop is dying. All right, sorry about that, guys. So you want to make sure that your rules start off on a more positive than a negative note. Too often, you see rules, and the first thing you see is like no or don't, or those strong words. You want to turn those same rules around, but start it off with a positive. Okay, do not leave the classroom without permission. You can say, ask permission to leave the classroom. So you want your rules to be something that the students can follow and make it very simple and very easy. And I've learned also, especially for the lower kids, you don't need no more than 5 rules. 5 rules. And the 5 rules can be very simple, and they follow them daily, and they get to learn them. And if you see that the kids are not remembering the rules, it's always a good time to go back to the rules and remind them, these are the rules that we set, these are the rules that govern our classroom, we are held responsible for them, and so I want to make sure that you're following the rules. All right, so there you see the difference between the procedures and the rules. This is not one that I'm going to expound on, but I just want to add this in. As the teacher, you want to model the behavior that you want the students to see. If you want your students to be kind to each other, you want them to talk in a soft tone to each other, you do the same when you're talking to them. You don't shout at them, you don't yell at them, you be kind to them, you treat them the way that you want them to treat their peers, and also how you want them to treat you. There are days when you might feel not like yourself, but still try to put your best out. All right. So, and the last rule I'm going to talk about before we jump off is offering praise. And I chose offering praise because it goes well with the classroom procedures and the classroom rules. You want to praise the students who are following the procedures and following the rules. And you find that when you do this, others will want to do it also, because as a student came in, and when they came in, you realize that this child followed the procedures. She took her bag off, she put it where it's supposed to be, she went to her seat, and she started working on her morning work. Highlight it, make a big deal of it. Oh, I see that Shanae followed the procedures this morning, and she's sitting quietly and she's doing her morning work. Awesome job, Shanae. Oral praise. Then she's going to feel good about it. The other students are going to start shuffling up and want to follow also. And another way to push it further is to offer her some type of reward, whether it be a sticker or extra recess, something that other students gonna need and gonna want to follow and try to remember, that they will be rewarded for it also. Praise go a long way, because I can go back to my classroom procedures. The procedure says when you come in, you need to put your stuff away, and they know their communication folder. When they put their bag away, the communications folder go in a specific basket. And what I'll do on random days is just go to that basket and check to see who had their communications folders in the basket, and say, okay, A, B, C, D, D, those are students' name. John, Alex, whatever, stand. And just go around and give them some stickers and say, you're getting this sticker because you remember to put your green folder in the basket. Next morning, all the folders are in the basket. All the folders are in the basket the next morning, because they realized yesterday students were rewarded for it. Okay, so you want to always try to reward the kids for different things, whether it be orally or whether it be something you're giving them tangible. Give it to them. They are going to appreciate it, and the others who did not do it will try to catch up the next day, because they are going to need it. And they will remind you, oh, you say you were going to check the basket to see if all the green folders, because they didn't get it yesterday, they want it today. All right, so there's so many different ways that you can get to the kids and get them to do what they need to do. So I think that's it for tonight. Three classroom management strategies, classroom procedures, very important, classroom rules, and offering them praise. And I notice I intertwined the praise with the classroom procedures and the rules, but praise can be used right throughout the day. Praise them during different subject areas if they're doing what they need to be doing, if they're staying on task, praise them. Whether you want to praise them orally with stickers, with, you know, whatever it is you want to praise the students with, you can praise them with. What I do also is offer them some bucks, some paper bucks, and say, okay, anybody gets 20 of these by Friday, you will get a treat. And the treat can be something that they can eat, whether it be a candy or, a snack or a soda, and they will work for those things. They will work for it. So that's it for the 3 classroom management strategies tonight. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask. I'm going to stay on for 2 minutes to answer those questions before I get off. Also, I want to share with you, while I wait for questions, liquid IV. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of liquid IV before. It's very good, especially in the days when you don't get to, drink enough water. This is a hydration packet. And for those who don't like to drink water, also, you just bring your liquid IV, throw it in, and you drink your water, and you're good to go. I don't see any questions in the chat box, so I guess everybody's okay. So the next thing I'm going to ask is that if you enjoyed this live, which was not anything that I usually do, so late, I should say, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. I see 2 people on Facebook gave the video a thumbs up. I'm not seeing here on YouTube where anybody gave it a thumbs up. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked what you saw. And also, if you have not subscribed to this channel as yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for other lives and videos to come. Gregory, I hope I'm saying it correctly. How do you deal with a student that's always getting up out of their seat and not completing? Okay, keep redirecting that child to the classroom procedures. And also, you can pair that child up with somebody who's always doing the right thing. And so each time that person does something right, you reward that child. And so that child will want to, adopt or follow what the child beside him or her is doing. I know some students, because currently I have students in my classroom that I have to put to sit by themselves. That's another strategy you can use. If you notice they're always getting up to talk to the people in their group, or they're always leaving to go somewhere else, you put them somewhere to sit by themselves. Okay, so you cannot follow the rules, you cannot follow procedures. You're going to sit here by yourself for X time. And then when I see that you have changed this behavior, you can sit back in your group. This is kindergarten. Oh, I've never taught kindergarten before. But those babies, you just want to keep reminding them and, and rewarding them. I'm going to give an example. My baby's a kindergartner, and he he complains every day that he's not getting to go in the treasure box. So I don't know if you have a treasure box, but the teacher uses the treasure box as a means of getting them to comply to the rules of the classroom. So if they're not following, then they cannot go in the treasure box. And the treasure box is just, you can get a shoes box, anything, decorate it pretty, put some stuff in it that the kids would like, toys, their age, whatever you want to put in it that they are going to enjoy. And let it be known to the entire class. In this box, we have some nice gifts. You can show them what's in there. And the people who follow the rules, people who stay in their seat at the end of the week will get to go in the treasure box. You could use that for kindergarten. My baby's in kindergarten and he's like, I don't get to go in the treasure box. I want to go in the treasure box. I'm like, okay, if you want to go in the treasure box, then you'll have to follow all the rules that the teacher set. So that's the way to do it. That's one way to do it. One way, put the child to sit by him or herself for a period of time, not for the duration of for the school year or anything, but just let them know you're sitting here until you can follow the rules and the procedures of the classroom. But good question. Any more question? 1 minute more. All right, so if we don't have any more questions, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate those ideas. You're welcome, Gregory. I hope I'm saying it correct. I'm just going to say Miss Higgs. You're welcome. I hope this video provided you with some good tips on how to manage your classroom, because as educators, it is important that we have good classroom management skills. And so if you have other classroom management strategies that you use in your classroom, please put them in the comment box below so others can learn from them, because as teachers, it is a community of different ideas. We want to come together and share ideas so others can learn from us. We want to show best practices. So if this is working for you, tell us in the comment below what's working for you so we can also try it. Okay? All right, guys, thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time. And as I said, if you have not tried liquid IV before, you can try liquid IV to go in your water. It gives your water a good flavor. See, it doesn't change the color much, but the flavor, it's awesome. And you can also get a discount when you buy liquid IV by using my discount code Kicking with Dr. Britton. I'll put that in the chat box. But for those who are joining for the first time, thanks for joining. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, touch the notification bell, and turn it on. And I'll see you next time. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, if you're there. Bye.